If you've ever been, why is this so difficult? Why is everything so unorganized? You're in the right place. Give yourself a pat on the back. We're going to be talking about how to organize your construction business for your success so you can have more time out on the slopes, out fishing, whatever it is you love to do, playing with your kids, and less time wandering around wondering why paperwork is out of place and everything's so unorganized and nobody knows what the hell is going on. So, first thing we're going to be talking about is an organization chart. I'm not going to go super long on this. I'll drop an example later on in the video so you can see what an organization chart looks like for, a standard type construction business. But if you don't even know what the look of your business is, then how are you going to organize the different people and functions and roles of your business? So it's very easy. You're at the top. If you're a business owner, you're going to be that top bracket there, your CEO, president, whatever you want to call it. Then you're going to have your vice presidents, marketing, finances, operations, probably another one in there. You're going to have your key places there. You're probably also in those boxes. You're the vice president because you may not have managers. Maybe you've got a production manager or office manager. They would fit those boxes. If you don't have a manager for certain type parts of the business, guess what? You are the manager. You are managing and wearing that hat right now. All right. And underneath them, you're going to have, the operators could be your site leads, your project managers, your field guys, whoever it is. So you're going to build up this organization chart. There could be people in multiple roles, but the reason that you have an organization chart is so that you can see which you're hiring for roles. You're not hiring for personality or tasks. That's a common problem that leads to disorganization within construction companies, is that it's like, we need someone to take care of admin stuff, so we hire an admin person. But are they doing finances? Are they doing marketing? Are they doing everything? Like, there's chaos ensues because you're kind of creating tasks for that person instead of having a position that has a defined role of what it should be doing. And people coming into your organization can feel that. And is there another reason why they can get overwhelmed or be asking you a ton of questions of like what they should be doing or how they should be doing something? It often stems from not having that good organization chart of your people and how things look overall. So that's organization chart, first step. Second step is employee roles. So that chart is going to tell you which roles inside your company does employee fit into. And often, again, you're probably hiring and it's like, you're a carpenter, you're an admin person, you're a project manager, but there's no definition. Like, what does that mean? What is that role, right? So get some understanding. And again, with a lot of this stuff, start small. You don't have to build out this elaborate, document or documentation for roles and all this stuff. Project manager, what are you in charge of? You're going to be in charge of schedules for projects. You'll be in charge of project finances. You will be talking with clients. So just list out the top 5 things maybe that each role is going to have, so that at least people know when they're coming into the company, hey, these are the things that you're responsible for, you're accountable for. These are the things that you need to communicate. This is who you communicate with. This is, your role. If you're having to do stuff outside of this and and you feel like it's starting to get into this other role, then we need to, offload those tasks to this other person. So defining those employee roles will bring a lot of organization to your construction company. Making sense? A little bit high level here, some of the stuff. I'm going to be getting into like nuts and bolts later on, but I want to start with the overall picture so that you've got, we're working from the 10,000 foot view down to the actual like operation side of like what you need in place actually to get super organized and efficient. So number 3, now that you've got your org chart, you've got your employee roles, now you're going to need some software. You may probably have software already. It's probably not being utilized overly effectively, or it's not being utilized in the right way, or people aren't using it or using it at all or properly. And this probably stems a little bit from you, not to be harsh, but it's what it is. All right. So with software, you're going to have a bunch of key ones. Your big ones are going to be like a CRM system if you got it, and a field management software, project management software, whatever you want to call it. Plus your financials, which is generally going to be like QuickBooks, could be Xero or I don't know. There's a few out there, but those are your big like software pieces. with software, it's very easy to get overwhelmed and to try to be like, wow, look at all these bells and whistles. Let's, try to do everything. And then nothing really works. Nobody's using it in the same way. So again, you want to build out one process, one software, one part of the software at a time, get it up to like 80%. You're not going to get it perfect, but it should be functioning, it should be built out, and people should be using it and utilizing it consistently. Then you can start to move on to the next piece of the software, start to build that out. You'll always kind of stay a step ahead. So let's say you want to get the estimating, so you build the estimating templates, the process, the cost codes, the cost database, the list, things like that. So you're going to get that, then you build out the process. This is how you go through an estimate. So you go through a home walkthrough. This is all this stuff. Boom, bada bing, that's done. You're probably going to be like moving on into like the project management side now. And you can possibly bring someone in, could be a project managers. If your project manager is not estimating now, they should be estimating. Project managers estimating a project is key, because then you're not just giving them a random budget. They're actually developing a budget. You're still going to check it and make sure that it's right, because it's very important to the company that the financials are in the right place. But that's something that if you build that out, that software, that operating procedure, now someone else can use it. And now you're kind of the guinea pig moving on to project management and getting that side of things, built up in the software. So technology and software, do not be afraid of it. You want to be bullish on this, very much so, because a lot of the new players coming into the industry are going to be younger than you. They're probably more like, this is just intuitive to them, and they're going to pick it up a lot faster. And in the past, it maybe didn't make a big difference. Shouldn't say big difference, not as much of a difference if you weren't really using technology in a big way, because the technology was helpful, but it wasn't groundbreaking necessarily. Nowadays, the technology is much more powerful, it's much more streamlined, it's much more expected by clients, that it's going to continue to make, the technology is not getting worse and the adoption is not getting less. It's going to continue to grow and be more important into the future. So get started now if you're not utilizing it, and make sure you're looking at software holistically in a way that my operations should run flawlessly, seamlessly, utilizing the softwares that we're putting in place. It's super difficult. This is what I help clients with all the time, and it's a huge pain point. So don't feel like I don't know how to do this or whatever. Rely on the customer support of the software. Check out the training videos, educate yourself, do that uncomfortable work, push through, go through the friction. The implementation is going to be hard. It's one thing to get the software. It's another thing to get your employees using it. But if you need help, reach out to me, drop a comment below. Let me know what software you're using right now. I'm very curious. I've got a running list that I think like 40 to 50 different construction softwares right now just for field management, never mind like all the one-off ones for different things. But let me know what software you're using. Is it working for you? Is it not working for you? Love to hear from you. Number 4. So number 4, you got your software set up, is your file management. So this is like, again, we're kind of going down levels here. File management is, what I suggest is get a Google Workspace and a Google Drive set up, and that's where you can manage all your files. You can share files, it's cloud-based, it's easy. The reason I suggest Google Workplace is just the ecosystem works really well. It's easy to share things with people. It's easy to create groups and roles, and it's very friendly. And I find it's just more intuitive, and it works across platforms. Whereas, like, again, I don't have a lot of experience for using like Microsoft or iCloud, but those are usually like they work on like Windows or Android or whatever. Whereas Google, I feel like it spans pretty much most of all devices and use cases. So that's the one that I suggest. What you want to do is have your top line folders. So you're going to have like a marketing. I've got a full video on how to set up this specific like Google Workspace and Google Drive and the folder structure, file structure. So I'm not going to go into super detail right now, because you can go check out that video later after you've watched this one. But with the file management, you're going to have your top line folders, marketing, clients, financials. I don't know. There's a few in there. Anyways, go check out the other video. Can't think of it off the top of my head. And then from in there, inside the marketing, you might have like a social media, email, a website, whatever, right? So again, you're going to have this sort of like organization chart, if you will, of your file folder structure with top line folders, subfolders, And then for every new client, they should have their own folder. And you can set up this automation with Zapier or Zapier, whichever one, depending on what your French is, to set up an automation. It's not easy, but it's very doable. That a trigger can be happen whenever you get a new client, you put in your CRM, boom, it'll set up a folder for them automatically with subfolders, with client documents, with a whole bunch of stuff already set up. So it's super easy. It takes zero time on your part, more than what you're already doing. So that's a great way to get organized, stay organized. And everybody in the company now knows, go to Google Drive, search for the file you need. You can, share it with different roles depending on where they're at in the company. It brings everybody in one place and makes things a lot easier to manage and organize. It's a huge component, super important. Go get that set up now after this video if you haven't yet. So, still with me here? All right, you're doing good. We've got a couple more to go here. Number 5. So 5 is communication. Plain and simple. I'm talking, you're listening, you're talking, I'm listening. If only we're that simple. Communication breaks down very fast. There's 2 brains involved that don't communicate with each other naturally. So there's a lot of stuff lost in communication, especially on a job site when you've got guys who knows what they're thinking about half the time and is loud, and everyone speaks from a different background or whatever. Communication can break down really, really fast. The big thing for communication as far as organization is in the employee handbook. So you should have an employee handbook that tells a new employee, this is all the things that you should know about our company and how we operate and all that stuff. So you can just give it to them. And you don't have to communicate that now to them specifically for every single new employee. You can give them the handbook, review this. If you got questions, ask me, but this is really important. So this is everything. Then you can communicate. When do they get paid? What are the holidays? What are the time off? How should they communicate with clients? How should they communicate with other team members? When should they let you know that they're going to be sick and can't get in that day? Who do they talk to when they want vacation time off? All these kind of things, you outline how they should be communicating. How do they introduce themselves when they show up to a client's house, or a client starts asking questions to them about, hey, can you just go do this for me on the side or whatever, right? Outline that so that they know about it, communicate with them, and have it ideally in writing, but if nothing else, talked about. Another kind of big thing about communication, if you're unsure about someone's ability to do something, or if you're assuming, which again makes an ass of you and me, as they say, you want to dive deeper. Ask them how they'll do it. And this, I remember for myself, I had hired a guy who said he had tiling experience and he was going to do this backsplash for me. So I set him to work. He's like, seems legit. He's an older guy. Seemed like a guy who knew how to tile from what he said and everything. But I didn't really ask him, like, how are you going to tile this wall? Can you tell me the steps? That's what I should have done. He would have probably told me in about 2 or 3 minutes what his plan was of how he was going to tile that backsplash. And through that, I probably could have picked up that he was going to make one very fatal mistake with applying tiles to that wall. And that was, he wasn't going to be using a straight edge for over where the stove goes. And lo and behold, the tiles kind of take a dip in that area. I get a call from the client, hey, the tile looks great where the countertop is, but behind the stove, it's dipping down. What the hell happened? And I'm like, oh no. Okay, I'll come take a look at it, or send me a picture and we'll get it fixed up. So 2 minutes of me kind of diving into it and asking him, like, how are you going to set things up, and how are you going to mix the mortar? How are you going to apply the tiles? And how are you going to do the grout? A couple minute conversation could have saved me, I don't know, probably an extra couple $1,000 possibly, by not having to redo a bunch of tile and taking it off. Never mind, like, losing face with the customer and just the extra time that it was involved by everybody to have to go back or whatever, right? So communication, super important, and communicating how you want people to communicate are the keys to take away from that. Moving on, number 6. We got a few more coming at you here. SOPs, standard operating procedures. No, I don't want to see those. I hate them. Yeah, they suck sometimes. When you got a huge binder, it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo, especially for like health and safety. No one wants to read it, and people just skim through it. That's not the SOP that I would create, and it's not what I want to instill in you. An SOP is just the big steps of how to get something done, and then you build it out later more detailed if you want to. The keys to an SOP is start small. So like I said, you don't need to fill out a whole ton of detail of every little specific tiny thing that needs to be done. Keep it high level, and then you build it out as you go on. If you can put more detail into there and more step by step, it'll be easier to implement for the person and you'll get better results. But don't use it as an excuse not to get started. Get started, big blocks, little blocks, put it together. And that's the key to getting started. As far as like management of SOPs, because they can get really unorganized very fast, is having too many SOPs for too many different things. So maybe you got like an SOP for, I don't know, framing a wall. You got an SOP for installing countertop or installing some cabinetry or whatever. Group those together. I'd rather have a large SOP with a lot of different subheadings so that you can have like the carpenter's SOP. And if you have a new carpenter, they can go in there and they can, okay, this is framing a wall, floor system, reading blueprints. Everything should be in that one SOP so that you don't have like 101 different SOPs and nobody really knows what to search for. Have very large, like general documents that have a lot of specific SOPs inside them. So like a financial management SOP, it's got like invoicing, running reports, how to submit receipts and track, maybe budgeting for projects, so that it's not like they have to go find something like, I don't know how to do change orders. Now I got to go, is it in estimating? Is it in financials? Whatever, right? They can, well, hey, that's a financial thing. So I'll go to the financial one. Or maybe you want to keep it in the estimating because they have to estimate for the change order. So there may be things where it can be in either one. Put a little line item, change orders. Go see the estimating SOP. Have a link to it. Google Docs is great for this because you can link headings in an SOP document to another document. So you could have like the heading for change orders, just put a link in the financial management of like, click here, boom, it brings them over to the other SOP. Super easy and easy to organize, and then just use a nice folder structure so that everything's in its place. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing. Organization, I haven't even mentioned it, but I should. It's a mindset, and the more you utilize it, the better. Scheduling, having just like taking the time to organize is going to save you so much time, and it's going to create this culture in your business that just makes things flow, makes the operation so much easier. Everyone's in a better headspace. And it kind of starts with you as the leader. I'm not going to get into the mindset so much. I'm trying to give you specifics here of things to implement, but that is the beautiful thing. Getting organized in one place will help with getting organized in another place, and will help everybody else who comes in contact with your business feel better and also get on that same page. So that was number 6 for the SOPs. Yes. So with SOPs, if you can create a training video, your SOP is going to be way more effective. Just reading blocks of text and following steps is kind of like level 1. If you want to level up, create a training video or have links in the SOP. Well, have a link in the SOP to the training video for one, so that they don't have to go looking for a training video and then go looking for an SOP. It's like you just go to the SOP, boom, all the resources there, one place, beautiful. Like I mentioned, do a screen share on Zoom. And if you're doing like a change order, this is how you do a change order. And, you pull in, this estimate or this project, you create you estimate the items for the change order, you send it to the client, ask for their approval, ask for the deposit or the payment in full or whatever it may be. Make a quick video on that. It's very easy with a screen share. If it's something like site stuff, like I mentioned before, like you've got your framer is going to be building a wall or whatever, and you've got this SOP of how to put a wall together. Go on YouTube. There's tons of videos on there. Utilize other people's videos. Just watch the video quickly. Does that is it relevant for my area or the way that we do this task? If it is, put the link there. This is how you nail a wall together. And then here's an additional resource. Go watch this video. This way, when they get to site, if they're green or rookie, they've seen a video, they've seen the SOP, they know the steps, they know the terminology, they've watched something before. they're already like 70% there. Now you just have to make sure that they don't nail their hand into the drywall or into the sheeting or whatever, and give them some practical advice while they gain experience. There's always that experiential thing. They're not gonna like red seal carpenter for watching videos, but it just makes that whole training process so much more easier and keeps things organized, which is what we're all about. So here we go. Number 7. I know we're running on here, but organization's big topic, and it's gonna do wonders for you. So number 7 is administration, the admin, the back end, the stuff that you just want to hire someone to take care of and never think about ever, ever, ever again. This is going to be big, and everything I've mentioned so far is going to kind of help with the admin. Some keys to administration is create a delegate this list. One of my favorite lists, if I'm doing something personally and I'm like, I could easily train someone. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is like a $20, $30 an hour task, maybe less. Even if it only takes me maybe 5 minutes a day or maybe 10 minutes, per week. All of those little things are like mosquitoes that are slowly sucking your blood and making you go crazy and disorganizing your business because you're not focused on the big picture. Create a quick SOP for that. Put it on your delegate this list. You don't even have to do anything right in the moment. Just put it on your delegate this list. So that way, in whenever, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year from now, you're hiring an admin person, you're hiring a project manager, you're hiring a marketing manager or agency or whatever. You've got this list populated that now it's like, yes, these are all the things I want this admin person to do. You pick the priority ones, you create a quick operating procedure for them, you hire them, they check out the operating procedure, they check out the video, you train them up a little bit. That onboarding is so much faster and they have such a better experience that they're not going to want to jump ship because they come into a company that's, leaking all over the place and like everyone's going crazy with the disorganization. And now they come into this company that's, running around and sinking, and they've got to try to like be the savior of the administration. So you don't want that. So delegate this list, super effective, super important. And this way too, when you get ideas, like you do probably regularly, of like, this should be done better. I'm sure there must be a program or something that could do this, or I don't understand why, this is like that, or we can improve this. Put on your delegate this list so that you can get out of your brain, you can stop worrying about it. You're going to get back to it at some point. So that's a huge thing about administration is just having that list available. And then really involve the admin person with a feedback loop and ask them to really communicate very specifically with you. I want to improve our processes. I want to improve our organization. I want you to have some flexibility and free time that if you feel like you need to do some research or find a better way or test out some software products, I'm giving you that freedom to find ways to help improve our business. They'll love you for this because you're giving them some freedom. You're also like, you don't really want to do this right away, but after they're operating and they're a good fit and they're really effective, they're the best person to be able to kind of see from the outside in of like where things are inaccurate, or maybe they've got past experiences from other companies of like different things they did, and they can really help you get organized because you've sort of built this company up from where you are. So there's going to be things that you do that you just do because you know how to do them, and it's always worked that way. And you're not going to see necessarily the opportunities for improved organization that a new admin could possibly see. Another thing to mention, kind of backtracking to the SOPs, is no system, no organization is ever completed. There's always more things to do, more ways to improve. You're never done in business. If you're done improving, then you're done in business, and it may be a year, maybe 10 years, but you're going to go out of business sooner or later. There's constant improvement. Every SOP, every time you hire someone, they're going to have a different way that they go through that SOP, and they're going to ask you different questions about that SOP, and they're going to screw up on certain things that the last person didn't screw up on. And that's a big not red flag, but like a notification light should come on in your brain, like, hey, this person didn't understand that. Why didn't they get that? I thought that step was very clear in the SOP. We even had a video about it, but they're missing some key factor here. What is it? So you ask them, oh, that's great insight. I didn't think that someone would interpret it that way. So I'm going to go add an extra sentence in here. Don't do this, do that. So every time SOP is constantly evolving, every new person that goes through it, every instance, it's always going to be evolving, changing. All right, so you are like the master of our organization now. If you follow these and get them all in place, I've got one last one coming up at you, but you're already miles ahead of most people, and kudos to you. Good job. All right, number 8 is financials. Probably should have started with this, to be honest with you, because I usually leave financials for the end, but I'm going to tell you straight up, they should be at the beginning, because financials is everything in your business as far as whether you can keep the lights on or not. If you have unorganized financials, the rest of your business could be toast and not even relevant if you're not organizing your financials. So financials, get organized, get a good bookkeeper. No excuse to not have a bookkeeper. You should not be doing the books unless you're in that first like 3 to 6 months of business, possibly. Otherwise, go look for a bookkeeper. There is a lot of different options. Get a good one. If you can't afford a good one, just get someone who can categorize and kind of keep things up to date, and then hire someone more professional later on. But at the very least, you need to be able to run reports and have an organized set of books so that you know what is going on overall in your business. So that's the first step. Second step is having project data. So the other part of organizing finances is you should know per project, do we make money? Do we lose money? How much? How much do we lose on this project? How much do we make on this project? What types of projects make the most money for me, or are the easiest, or are most likely to be on schedule? That's the kind of information you should have organized and available. And in QuickBooks, it's just simply there's a projects tab and you can keep track of it. If you're using a field management software, you can put financial data in there. Yes, it takes more time. Not all of this is, just set and forget automation. I wish it were that easy with AI. Maybe we'll be there in a couple of years. But for right now, it does take some time and some conscious effort on your part to put that financial data in there and to run the process effectively so that you can pull from that and keep your finances in check. Here's the good news. It may not run automatically, but it doesn't mean you have to run it. Create the process, delegate it, hire someone else to do that. If you can't afford that, then you need to increase your prices. Plain and simple. Increase your prices, get more leads. Something needs to happen because your business should be structured in a way that you've got enough margin to hire someone to take care of small admin stuff and take some of the stuff off your plate. So that's level 2 with financials. Level 3 is where you've now reached like world-class God mode. You're amazing. And that is actual job costing. So we know not only how much we made or lost on a project, but we know how much we made or lost on every single part of the project. This involves cost codes. I'm not going to go in cost codes in detail here. I've got another video on that if you're interested to go see that afterwards. But this is where your financials are so organized that on framing, we went over $10,000. Why was that? Well, I forgot to put, I forgot that we needed trusses for the garage or whatever, right? Or maybe the guys took like 3 weeks and I thought they'd take 2 because we got rained out and it was just like a hot mess on site. So that is the next level. It's definitely doable. Work one level at a time, get your books up to date, in shape, and your reports. If next level, get projects running from there, then you can build a cost code. If you're having difficulty with this, you really want to boost and speed up this whole process of organization, reach out to me. Check out links in the comments. We've got some free resources there specifically for you to help your business. Here's to the best with getting organized. See you on the next video.